Hey everyone, Setsuko here, and I am bringing you our Smite God Guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at Agni. This guide is probably going to be, or this guide is primarily going to be focused on a look at his skills and their synergies. We will not be covering item builds in this guide, as item builds are dependent upon so many factors that they can change all the time. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to jump into the practice jungle. We're going to level Agni up, take a look at his skills, go over each one, and talk about the ways that they synergize together, talk about some of the stats that you should focus on when you are doing an item build, just in general, and some methods in how you can choose to play as Agni.
Time to burn.
Alright, so first thing we're going to do is level him up.
Minions have spawned.
Alright, we're just going to level him up enough so that we can utilize all of his abilities. Alright, there we go. Okay, so we got his abilities set up. Go ahead and just grab some items here. Actually, not this one. Okay, so taking a look at his abilities. So anytime you're looking at a god, you want to pay attention to everything that's on this screen. So you want to look at the passive, and you want to look at the basic attack, as well as his 4 core abilities. So Agni's passive is Combustion, where after he hits with 4 basic attacks, he'll gain a buff on the next cast of Flame Wave or Rain of Fire, which is this skill or this skill. All enemies hit by those abilities will additionally be set ablaze and take damage every half second for 6 seconds. Or 3 seconds, sorry. So you're looking at 6 ticks of damage. This affects the enemy, the damage is magical, and the damage per tick is 5 plus an amount determined by your ability power. So, let's take a look at that. We'll go over here to the damage camp, and you'll notice that each time we deal a damage, we're going to see that flame fill up, and now if we cast Rain of Fire, you'll see that there's a dot applied to the enemy from those 4 auto attacks. So right now we're half full, we got 2 out of 4. We can come over here, hit 2 more times,
Ignite.
cast, and now he's got the dot again. So that's Agni's passive ability. So always keep that in mind, that when you do have the flames filled up, you're going to want to try to use your 2 or your 4 ability to add that additional damage over time element that is given by his passive. Now his basic attack does 34 damage plus 1.5 times your level plus 20% of your magic power. So there's no progression, which means he does the same auto attack every time. There's no change up in his auto attack. And it scales with your magical power. So the more magical power you have, the harder your basic attack is going to hit. It's still not going to do a whole lot of damage though. So nothing really special about his basic attack, other than the fact that it plays into his combustion passive. Taking a look at his number 1, Noxious Fumes. So this is a ground target ability, which means that when you utilize it, you are targeting the ground, not an enemy. And it affects enemy characters. It's magical damage, and the radius is 20, which is pretty significant. Alright, so when you use this ability, he summons a cloud of noxious fumes at his ground target location, doing damage every second. Firing any of his other abilities into the fumes detonates the gas, which will stun all enemies in the radius. So, you can see here that if we drop this, it's going to do damage over time. And then, if we cast another ability, we get that stun. Alright, so I'm going to swing over to another camp, and I'm going to show you guys that one more time. So, we have the damage over time from his 1,
Fuel for the fire.
and then if we cast an ability into it, they're stunned. Alright, so that's a synergy with his other skills, right there. Alright, now when we're looking at leveling it, you can see that for every point that we put into it, the damage per tick is going to go up. The mana cost is also going to go up. The duration of the flames and the stun duration does not change, and the cooldown does not change. So, putting more points into Noxious Fumes pretty much only increases the damage, and it also increases the cost. So, if you're worried about just having the stun available, you can just put 1 point into Noxious Fumes and then use your other abilities to trigger it. If you're worried about the damage, then you're going to want to put points into it in order to make it stronger. And we'll talk about some other synergies and ways you can build out after we've gone over these abilities. Alright, so his second ability is called Flame Wave. This ability is a line, which means that when you're targeting it, as you can see, it targets in a line. Unlike this, with the circle ground target, you have a line. It affects the enemy and is magical damage. So he summons a wave of fire in front of him and scorches all enemies in his path. Ignites Noxious Fumes, right here. So pretty much we've already covered this. If we use it in conjunction with the 1, it will ignite it. And outside of that, it's just a line attack that deals damage. So as you level this, the damage goes up, the cost goes up, and the cooldown goes down. So if you want more damage from this, put points into it. Also, if you want to use it more often, put points into it. Next, we have Path of Flames. This is a dash ability. That means that when used, it will cause you to dash in the same direction as you are using it. It targets the enemy and is magical damage. So Agni blazes a path forward in a quick dash, leaving flames trailing behind. Any enemies passing through the flames catch fire and burn for damage every 0.5 seconds for 2 seconds, so 4 ticks of damage. And this ignites Noxious Fumes again, and he's immune to knockback while dashing, so people can't knock you back. So let's, for example, say that we start attacking these guys, and we can use our dash, and then when they walk through it, you can see that they take damage over time. And that is how that works. Now, when you level this ability up, your damage per tick is going to increase, and your cost is going to increase, but the duration of the flames and the cooldown is going to stay the same. So, you would level this up purely for the damage. And then Agni's ultimate ability is Rain Fire. This is a ground targeted ability, just like Noxious Fumes. So in this case, you have another circle you can put out. It has a radius of 20, same as Noxious Fumes. It affects enemy and its magical damage. So every 20 seconds, he's going to gain one of these crystals here. And that is called a Flaming Halo. And you can use those halos to summon a giant meteor at your target location, and you can summon one every 0.8 seconds, so you can save them up and then sort of rapidly fire them off if you want to. And this ability does ignite Noxious Fumes as well. So just to take a look at that, you'll see that we use it one time, summons a meteor, and then you can see that we have another one charging here, and there we go, we're back up to 3. So when you level this, you're going to increase the damage. You're always going to have 3 halos. The cost is nothing, and the cooldown does not change. So this is an ultimate ability. Obviously, you're going to want to increase this every chance that you get in order to maximize the damage on it. So that is the overview of his abilities. So what we're going to talk about now is some of the synergies and strategies that you can use when you're applying these abilities in an actual game. So I'm going to run over to the minion wave here. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Going here to the green one. Okay, so a couple of things you can do. One, you want to try to synergize your passive. Anytime you have your 4 stacks of combustion up, you want to try to take advantage of that dot capability by utilizing either your flame wave or your rain of fire, just to get that extra damage from the tick. Now the good thing about this ability is, or about his passive, is if you use a different ability, like say we put that out, it doesn't use up your combustion. So you have that combustion available to you until you use one of those abilities. But you want to keep in mind and keep conscious of the fact that it is there. So let's say, for example, you're chasing an enemy and you can, you've almost got him dead, but you don't think you'll be able to keep up with him. You can come up and you can do your flame wave, and maybe the dot will catch them and kill them if you have your 4 stacks of combustion up. So you're going to want to try to, try to have that combustion up when you know that you're going to be engaging with an enemy god. A really good way to use Noxious fumes. Noxious fumes is good because, one, it's sort of a zone control. You could put it down and then people are kind of afraid to walk into it because they know you can trigger it with anything, and you get that 1 second stun duration from it. So you can use it to kind of zone people out. So, in this case, if I put this, right here in the middle, there's really no way for them to come up this lane without going through the Noxious fumes, and then I have ways to cause that combustion. They get stunned for a second, maybe my team can jump on them and we can take them down. Another really good way to use Noxious fumes is to use it as a wave clear ability. And so what you would do here is you would basically level up Noxious fumes to get the maximum damage on it, and then you would just place it on minions so that they would sit in it and basically just kill themselves from the damage over time. And this is obviously, it works on jungle camps, but it's really good to use against lane minions as well, because generally they're going to meet up with your minions and stay in one spot, and so you can position that ability so that it will actually cover both groups. Let's see if I can, these guys are almost down, so I'll have to wait for the next wave to come out, but I'll show you what I mean with the positioning on that. Now with Flame Wave you could do a couple of things. You can use this for wave clear as well. You can also use it as zone control. So, say that I did my Path of Flames here. Boom, like that. Now any enemy that comes through here has to walk through my wall of flames, and that is going to cause them to take that damage per tick. You can also, here I'll show you what I mean with the positioning, like right there. I'm going to get some positioning there. Generally I would probably put it a little further back and work on the archers because they tend not to move. But you can see how you can get a large group of minions together like that. So like I was saying with the Flame Wave, you can use it to zone like that, and then now anybody who comes up this lane has to walk through it, has to take the damage. You can also use it for some wave clear as well. So you can dash through an entire wave of minions, and as you can see, it's a really effective way to clear out a wave of lane minions. It's more effective than Noxious Fumes. And then with Rain of Fire, this is a really good way to poke at people in your lane. And this is a really good way to catch enemy units that are fleeing. So let's go take a look at Ra real quick. Ra is our computer opponent here. Alright. So we got a couple of things in mind here to keep in mind. We've got our combustion up so we can cause a damage over time. 2, we have 3 charges of our ultimate, Rainfire, which we can drop, and all of our skills are ready. So we can actually open up with an ability so that our auto attacks will start building up that combustion charge again. Alright, so rain fire. You know, you want to lead your target like you would with any skill, but it's a good way to poke, and it's a good way to set up some control. So let's say we drop this here, catch him on the edge, drop our ultimate, get that stun in.
Ignite! Killing spree!
Alright. So you can see there's a lot of synergy with Agni and his abilities, and he's really, really fun to play, in my opinion, because he has that synergy, and he has some aggressive movesets. I think with the dash and the chase with his ultimate, you know, being able to nail those guys that are, you know, trying to run away from you. Good, solid wave clear with his abilities. So there's many ways that you can play him. If you want to play him as sort of a poke character, which I do a lot of times in Assault, then generally I'll put a point into Flame Wave, a point into Path of Flames, and I'll max out Noxious Fumes, because in Assault, you know, it's pretty easy for me to drop that and kind of scare people, get some zone control in the lane, also take down some minions with it. So really good in Assault. If you're in lane by yourself and you want to focus on some wave clear, then you can put your points into Path of Flames, because one, that gives you an escape in your lane if you need it. It gives you a chase in your lane if you need it because of the dash, but it also gives you that really strong wave clear from the fire that you put down. So, you know, just doing that, really good wave clear. So in general, I mean, I would recommend one of those two as your priority to level. But I mean, at the same time, Flame Wave does have its merits, and it works in conjunction with Combustion. So when you are building Agni, a couple of things, a couple of stats you might want to keep in mind. Obviously, yeah, you're going to want magical power to increase your damage. And I think for the most part, I mean, his cooldowns are not very high. Flame Wave cooldown starts at 9. Noxious Fumes. These are altered a little bit by my gear, so let me sell my gear. We'll take a look at the defaults real quick. Let's just sell all this off. Take a look here. Okay, so if we're looking at a skill, we're starting 12-second cooldown, 15 second, 20 second. Okay, so for him, I would probably focus on magic damage and cooldown reduction. And mana, I mean, pretty standard for a mage. Those are the combination of stats that you're always going to want. He doesn't have a particular stat synergy, so just, you know, keeping him well-rounded in what you want to do. If you are picking up the... if you're picking up meditation or salvation as one of your active abilities, I mean, that's going to give you your mana back frequently, so you might not have to worry about mana or mana regen as much, so you can focus more on ability power, cooldown reduction, you know. So just in general, generic mage stats, pretty good for Agni. Like I said, he's really fun. I enjoy him quite a bit, and if you need any further help, feel free to contact me on TeamSpeak, forums, and Smite, whatever, and I'd be more than happy to help you out. And for specific item builds and guides, like I said, we can hook you up with some of those that are available on the web. So this has been the Smite God Guide for Agni. I'm Setsuko, and I will see you on the next guide.